What are Flash teams and Flash organizations, and what's the difference? So both teams are virtual teams of globally distributed freelancers led by technology. Both studies initially were researched by Melissa Valentine from the Stanford University, and from my opinion, she did an excellent research on how work can change in the future by leveraging global freelancer teams. So what's the difference between Flash organizations and Flash teams? Let's start with Flash teams, which has been the first study that Melissa Valentine published. Flash teams are teams of freelancers that are doing scalable, linear scalable work that is not complex. That can be, for example, content translation, image editing, or any kind of work that does not require complex interaction between members of the team. Flash teams are led independently by technology, which means you have clearly described tasks and workflows that lead the team to produce the results and the outcomes that you expect. There is no manager, but there can be a manager, and the team is basically self-organized. That means the team can decide when and if they want to introduce new experts and for which scope and for which kind of work. So when you want to use Flash teams, the kind of work that they can do is pretty much easy and simple, so not complex. It is not suitable for example, software development or agile projects, but it's a perfect match if you have a lot of work that can scale linear and where you have a clearly described process that just needs execution by people that have the skills and the experience to process it. In compared to Flash organizations, Flash teams are there for linear, scalable, non-complex work. Flash organizations, on the other side, are organizations that are set up for doing complex work like agile projects or software development. So these kind of organizations also consist of globally distributed freelancers, and they can scale with new skills that are required, with more workload that is discovered and required to get done in a short period of time. Flash organizations are also led by technology, and the leaders of this team, they can always decide if they want to extend the organization. The organization exists of clearly defined roles, and they have a clearly defined workflow, how these people in the specific roles collaborate with each other. They can always branch the organization, which means they can suggest or recommend a change in the organizational structure and in the organizational workflows and also in the team setup, and others can approve this change. That was initiated by the idea of how software development teams work with version control. Usually it's Git or Subversion. And with Git, they can create a new branch in the code base, and other people will review these changes in the code base and then merge it into the original code base in the master branch. And this idea inspired Flash organizations to manage change in the organizational structure in the same way. Practically, that means that everyone in the organization can recommend or suggest a change in roles and workflows, and others can approve that. So the team is led by a system that everyone can change, but the rules that are implemented in this system are clearly defined and progress can be measured clearly. The idea of Flash organizations is that the system is completely automated and change is triggered by people, by experts. What Flash organizations implement is a separation of control, because each and every person is not led by or managed by an organization, but they are freelancers and working independently based on their own interest. So you have a huge separation of interest in your whole team, and you can make sure that you always have the right experts working in the roles that you defined in your organization, so that you make sure that you get the quality of work that the project or the team requires. Flash organizations were researched on 3 different types of projects. One was a card game, another one was a mobile app, and there was an explainer video where they tested how Flash organizations can be used or leveraged to get complex work and creative work done. So to sum it up, Flash teams are for linear, scalable, non-complex tasks that have just a huge amount of workload. And Flash organizations are organizations that are there to deliver complex tasks and do complex projects. Both organizations are self-determined and self-organized and led and supported by technology. If you are excited about increasing the performance of your virtual teams or in your remote team, let me know, subscribe to this channel or ask some questions below the video. I will be happy to answer any of your questions. And when you want to have more experience from myself or get more use cases or hacks for working remotely, subscribe to that channel and get more videos soon.